Hello everyone, this is Ali Reza. This is not a coding video. I had fun last night and I thought about sharing what happened with everyone out there, because I'm sure every new user of Windows 10 would fall into the same situation sooner or later. Well, what's the story? Last night I was at home on my laptop and suddenly Windows 10 decided that, you know what, freezing every 2 minutes is fun. And I'm not speaking about crashing to a blue screen. No, I mean total freezing of your operating system. Mouse is not working, keyboard is not working. The only way to turn off the computer is by what would I call it? Physically turning it off by holding down the power key, stuff like that. And the same operating system decided for his stupid brain that it's fun to do it non-stop. So for about 1 hour, I was constantly getting freezing operating system, and I had to restart my computer manually, and then 2 minutes later, again another freezing. So my very first thought was that because my laptop was new and I updated its drivers to Windows 8, then I updated Windows 8 to Windows 10 and didn't touch the drivers. My very first idea was that one of these two hardwares are conflicting with operating system. A, the touchpad on the laptop. B, its graphic card, the VGA. And because it was freezing so many times, I went for the smaller download, and it was 20 megabyte. But for that 20 megabyte, I had to wait for about 40 minutes. And well, because it was freezing, I had to restart the PC, use the download manager, continue, freeze, restart, blah, 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 blah. Then I updated my mouse pad, my touchpad on the keyboard, but it didn't solve the issue. So one solution was out of the door, you know. So the next call was the graphic card driver. I downloaded it, and my laptop was Asus, by the way. I downloaded the driver, and the last driver available was for Windows 8.1. And I said to myself, okay, I installed the driver from the CD. Maybe this is the new one. Maybe this will solve the issue. That driver was 118 megabytes, and it took near 2 hours of me to download it. And the whole thing started from 11 o'clock p.m., okay, near the midnight. But it was irrelevant. I just told that so that you know, when I finished downloading the driver, it was near 2 a.m. And I tried to install the driver, and what do I see? The driver tells me that, hey, this operation system is not proper for this driver, meaning that the driver was older than Windows. Okay, so that was not the solution. Then I started reading web pages, and every time I would read, it would freeze. I would restart, open browser, go to the web page, read near 10 lines, maybe half a page. The operation system would freeze. And yeah, around 1 or 2 hours, one and a half hour later, I was still empty-handed. And that was when I decided to roll back, because you may not know, Windows 10 gives you two options for recovery. One, roll back to Windows 8. Two, roll back to the first day of installation of Windows 10, when I didn't want to go to Windows 8. I really like Windows 10. So I said to myself, hey, you know what? Let's try recovering Windows 10 from day one. It took another hour to install the Windows, and guess what? Problem was still there. Now, I was totally empty-handed by that time, and it was near near 4 a.m. if I'm right. So that was the time that I sat down and thought, okay, I was working with this operating system on this laptop for 5 days without any problem. The problem suddenly started from today. Actually, the night before that I had one freeze, but it was late in the night, so I turned off the computer and went to sleep. So it was 2 days that I had problems. Then I thought to myself, what did happen 2 days ago before I get the problems? And it occurred to me, oh wait, I had a Windows update. Okay. By the way, all this time, I was reading forums, I was reading web pages. Many people gave many different suggestions, and just by reading them, I knew it was junk, it wouldn't work. Although some of them were sometimes right. I will speak about them later. But long story short, when I found that the possible reason can be a Windows update, the very first Windows update after the installation of Windows 10, then I thought to myself, okay, maybe Microsoft done something stupid. It's not his first time. So most of the time, when Microsoft screws up, the next update would fix issues. So it was natural for me to sit and see if there is any update available, and lucky me, it was there. That update took near 1.5 more hours. It was 6 a.m. now. 7 hours of me pulling my hair, constantly freezing, constantly restarting. But in the middle of all of that, right, I think it was about 2 a.m. or 2.5 a.m., I found something. Freezing would happen faster if I would leave the system idle, meaning I wouldn't use the keyboard, I wouldn't use the mouse. I would get the freezing right after 2 minutes of the reboot. But if I moved the mouse just around the desktop in a very tiny circle, sometimes the freezing would happen after 30 minutes. So I had 30 minutes of system working. That was the indication for me that maybe my drivers was in fault, but then it didn't happen. And the whole story continued. So when I was updating my driver, I was constantly rotating my mouse with my touchpad for 1 hour non-stop. My wrist is still hard. But finally, after the update was done, and it was really damn hard for me to do that, because the internet at home is slow, and yeah, all the freezing in between that. But after the second update, after Windows 10 installation, mouse is working, keyboard is working, and at least for 2 hours that I tried it, no freezing happened. So here is what I learned from all of this. First of all, the very first thing I learned, never ask questions in forums. There are two types of people answering you. One, actually three type of people. One, people who don't know what is going on and just try to be smart. They will always ask questions from you, and you would waste your time answering every one of their stupid questions, and you wouldn't get any solution out of them. Second, people that go for, you are stupid, you forgot to turn on the printer, and you are asking why the printer is not printing the paper. That type of helpers that would tell you that, hey, isn't your laptop overheated? Are your drivers updated? Blah, blah, blah. Normal, very basic problem solving that most of the time you had done all of that yourself. So you would just answer, yes, I had done all of this, please help. The third type of people are those who has the problem and come and say, hey, I have the same problem, and that's it. They're just bumping that thread, hoping that someone answers them. So you may ask, okay, where is the harm in that? First of all, you are wasting your time. Second of all, the first type of people that want to be smart and show that they know something sometimes give you some suggestions, and those suggestions can damage your operating system to the point that it won't survive anymore, at least in a long time. For example, they suggest that you go to registry and tweak some numbers there, and you don't know what is that registry key for. You do that, it wouldn't work, and because you are pulling your hair at the time and you're stressed, you forget to write down the original number. So when it's not working, you will leave that registry key with the wrong value, and sooner or later that would bite you back. Your operating system will become slower, your operating system will not work, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes they suggest that you install a third-party application. You should be damn unlucky if those applications are not Trojans themselves. But most of the time, those guys are somehow related to the companies developing those softwares. And they say, hey, you know what? This software can solve it. You install the software, you try it, the problem is there, you uninstall the software, and you say, okay, I'm done, I'm cool, the software is gone. But you don't know that most of the time softwares leave junk on your hard drive and Windows. Keys in registry, some folders in app data, in program data, in everywhere in your Windows. You just can control the installation folder, and you say, okay, it's not there. So after 5 months, why my Windows got so slow? Yeah, that's the reason. The third harm is when they suggest you to use some command line Windows commands, and almost none of us know what those commands are for, and they may harm our operating system more than helping it. So, long story short, don't trust people there. You should read the forums that are available just to know that the solutions are not working. And then that would lead you toward a proper way. Second thing that I learned, before you start pulling your hair, before you start downloading stuff and trying something like driver version, blah, 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 sit down and think, was your operating system behaving correctly 1, 2, or 3 days ago? If so, what did you do in these 3 days that ruined your system? You may find your solution right there. Third thing that I learned is that some people rolled back to Windows 8. If you have a second computer that you can use in the meantime, If the reason for your malbehaving operating system is the company that develops the operating system and its updates, keep calm, use the second PC. In maybe worst case scenario, a month, that company will come up with a fix and the next update will solve your issues there. So there is no reason to roll back to a lower version of operating system. Last thing I learned, when you have a stable working operating system with your programs installed on it, without any extra stuff in your operating system, for example, right now, these guys are sitting on my desktop. 3 folders, each one have tons of stuff in it actually. Unity project by itself. For time being, it's just 3 folders, but this guy is empty. Repositories, yeah, it's Lord of Ducks repository. Okay, these are not belonging to the operating system. On my second monitor, I have some, backup classes for my R&D, some web pages, blah, blah, blah. These are not belonging to the operating system. So move these guys to an external hard drive. Keep your operating system clean with just the programs you need as a startup. Then use Windows tools to make a bootable recovery hard drive. Maybe on DVD drives, maybe on bootable USB flash drives. These little hard drives that come with like 32 gigabytes, 64 gigabytes. 32 should be enough, but just to be safe, 64. Then make a bootable recovery disk for your operating system. So each time you have a stable version, you format that external little flash drive and you remake your recovery system before you upgrade again. Because if that update or upgrade ruins stuff, worst case scenario, you would lose only 1 or 2 days of work. If the harm is coming from updating your operating system, most of the time that harm is not so bad. The worst one was what I experienced last night, but for that I had about 20 minutes of possible time to move stuff around from my hard drive to an external hard drive and save my job. That is if your computer is virus safe, with an antivirus. Well, Windows 10 has its Windows Defender and it's one of the best. So, long story short, keep a bootable recovery disk of your stable operating system. Because if I had something like that last night, I would say, okay, go to hell. I would put that USB flash drive to my USB port and reboot my computer, and I would be happy. And I would sleep for the night. Anyway, I'm sure anyone who installs the Windows 10 for the first time, and by the way, it doesn't matter because the harm comes from an update. It doesn't matter if you upgrade your Windows 8 or 8.1 to 10, your Windows 7 to 10, or you start from a fresh bootable Windows 10 DVD drive. The first time you upgrade your Windows 10, you would most likely come face to face with this problem. Don't panic. Just try to upgrade your Windows again. Be ready to refresh your rebooting 2 or 3 times during it if you have a slower net. And keep moving that damn mouse. That helps a lot. And after that second update, your operating system should become stable. I hope it helps people out there. I didn't sleep for 8 hours. That was 8 hours of very stressful problem solving on hard drives for me, because I didn't know it was driver. I didn't know if my new laptop had a hardware issue and I should have contacted the guarantee, or if it was operating system. And it came out that the culprit was them and Microsoft. Okay, I will stop the video. I will go and take some rest for, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 hours, and I will come back to recording. And guys, I'm recording a node editor for you, teasing you. Yeah, the second iteration of it actually. The first iteration is done. It will upload in a few days, but the second iteration is being recorded today. Until that time or next upload, have fun everyone. Bye-bye.